The door creaked open like a thunderclap in the quiet of my room, and there she was, Jordan, my sister Sarah's best friend from college, standing frozen in the threshold with her hand still on the knob. I was midway through peeling off my damp swimsuit from practice, my skin still prickling from the chlorine, heart slamming not just from the sprint sets but from the raw exposure of that single searing moment. Her eyes locked on mine, not on my bare shoulders or the curve of my hip, but straight into my soul, and in that green-flecked gaze I saw it all. The hunger she'd buried, the fear we'd both carried like shadows, and the electric pull that had simmered between us for months without a word. It was the summer after my senior year in that sleepy Ohio suburb, where the air hung heavy with cicada songs and the promise of escape. I'd turned 18 in April, old enough to taste freedom but young enough to feel trapped in the echo of my parents' expectations. Dad's quiet pride in our straight-A family, Mom's church potlucks where everyone pretended perfection was the only path. Sarah, 2 years ahead and thriving at Ohio State, had dragged Jordan home for the weekend. A casual invasion of laughter and late-night takeout that upended our routine. Jordan was everything I wasn't. Bold, unapologetic, with that cropped hair that framed her sharp jaw like she dared the world to question it. She'd always been kind to me, teasing me about my swim team ribbons or slipping me extra fries from her plate, but lately her glances lingered. A brush of fingers when passing a soda, a smile that twisted something deep in my chest. That afternoon, Sarah had dashed out to pick up Mom from her shift at the hospital, leaving me alone in the house with Jordan under the guise of helping with dinner prep. I'd snuck upstairs to change after an impromptu dip in the backyard pool, the water a brief mercy against the July heat. The swimsuit clung like a second skin, and I was lost in the rhythm of tugging it free when the door swung wide. Time fractured. Her lips parted but no sound came. Just that look, raw and unguarded, stripping me more than the fabric ever could. Desire, yes, but laced with terror, as if she'd finally glimpsed the mirror to her own hidden heart. I snatched my towel from the bed, wrapping it around myself in a frantic whirl, my cheeks burning hotter than the sun-baked shingles outside. Jordan! What the knock much? My voice cracked, half laugh, half panic, but she didn't move, her athletic frame silhouetted against the hallway light like a statue carved from regret. Sorry, Eminência, Sarah said. I thought you were downstairs. Her words tumbled out low, rough around the edges, but her eyes, they betrayed her, flicking down for a heartbeat before snapping back up, loaded with an apology that felt like a confession. She backed out, pulling the door shut with a soft click that echoed louder than a slam, leaving me trembling against the dresser, pulse thundering in my ears. Downstairs, the kitchen smelled of basil and simmering tomato sauce, Sarah's half-chopped onions scattered like confetti on the cutting board. I descended in cut-off shorts and a faded band tee, towel-damp hair twisted into a knot, forcing normalcy into my step. Jordan was at the stove, stirring with mechanical precision, her back to me, broad shoulders under a simple black tank, the kind that hugged her swimmers built from her own college crew team. Sarah burst through the back door moments later, arms laden with grocery bags, oblivious as ever. "Aang, you missed the chaos at the store." Mom haggled over avocados like it was the apocalypse. I forced a grin, sliding onto a stool. "Sounds riveting. What's for dinner anyway?" My gaze darted to Jordan, who kept her focus on the pot, but I caught the tension in her neck, the way her free hand clenched the spoon a fraction too tight. "Pasta primavera, Jordan's specialty." Sarah elbowed her friend, who managed a tight smile, her green eyes avoiding mine like I was a live wire. We ate on the patio as dusk painted the sky in bruised purples, fireflies winking like conspirators in the yard. Conversation flowed, Sarah's dorm drama, Jordan's upcoming regatta, but under it all a current hummed, invisible to my sister but crackling between us. Every time our knees brushed under the table, accidental in the crowded space, a jolt shot through me, her warmth lingering like a brand. That night sleep evaded me. I lay in the dark, the ceiling fan whirring overhead, replaying that doorway stare. What had she seen in me? Not just the girl she'd known as Sarah's little sister, but something more vulnerable, real, aching in ways I barely admitted to myself. I'd crushed on boys in high school, sure, the safe crushes that fizzled into friendship, but Jordan? She was a storm, pulling at edges I didn't know frayed. By midnight, thirst drove me downstairs for water, the house creaking under my bare feet. The kitchen glowed faintly from the fridge light as I poured a glass, but then a shadow shifted. Jordan, perched on the counter in oversized sweats, nursing a mug of tea. She startled, nearly spilling it. "Eh? Can't sleep either." I leaned against the sink, the cool porcelain grounding me. "Yeah, too much adrenaline from earlier." The words hung loaded, and her gaze met mine fully for the first time since the incident, intense, searching, like she was mapping the contours of my fear. She slid down, feet hitting the tile softly. "About that, I'm really sorry. I should have knocked. It's just, Sarah said you were out back, and I needed my charger from upstairs." A lie thin as tissue, but her voice softened, vulnerability cracking through. "I didn't mean to invade. It's okay." I stepped closer, the space between us shrinking to inches, the air thick with unsaid things. "But that look you gave me, Jordan, what was it?" She exhaled sharply, setting her mug down with a clink. Her hand hovered near mine on the counter, not touching but close enough to feel the heat. "You're Sarah's sister. This, whatever this is, it's messy. Complicated." But her eyes, those damn eyes, whispered the opposite. "It's everything." We stood there, breath sinking in the dim light, until footsteps thudded above, Sarah rolling over in her sleep. Jordan pulled back first, murmuring goodnight before vanishing upstairs, leaving me with a glass of water that tasted like regret and a heart racing toward dawn. The next morning dawned sticky and bright, sunlight slicing through the blinds like accusations. Sarah bounded into the kitchen in her running gear, ponytail swinging. "Beach day. Jordan's driving. You in?" Our family had a standing tradition. Lake Erie escapes, sandcastles and sunburns masking deeper currents. Jordan appeared behind her, coffee in hand, looking every bit the cool college senior in board shorts and a loose Henley. "Only if the kid can keep up with us old folks." Her tease landed light, but her wink, quick, private, sent a flutter through my stomach. The drive was an hour of wind-whipped hair and blasting indie rock. Sarah shotgun, me and Jordan crammed in the back of her beat-up Jeep. Our thighs pressed together over the console hump, an unavoidable intimacy that made my skin hum. She smelled like citrus shampoo and salt air, her arm draped casually along the seat back, fingers inches from my shoulder. Every bump in the road jolted us closer, her laugh at Sarah's jokes vibrating through me like a secret code. At the lake, we claimed a spot on the dunes, umbrellas stabbing the sand like flags of normalcy. Sarah stripped to her bikini and sprinted for the waves, yelling over her shoulder for us to hurry. Jordan lingered, spreading a blanket, her movements deliberate as she glanced my way. "You swim like a pro, right? Show me up later." "In the pool, maybe. Open water's different." I peeled off my cover-up, hyper-aware of her gaze tracing the lines of my one-piece, the same one from yesterday's practice. No towel this time, just us exposed under the vast blue sky. She shed her shirt, revealing the taut lines of her abs from crew, a faint scar snaking across her ribs from some childhood mishap she'd once mentioned. Different how? She stepped closer, the sand shifting under her feet, voice low against the crash of waves. Wilder. Unpredictable. My pulse matched the surf, eyes drawn to the freckles dusting her collarbone. We waded in together, the cold shock of water stealing my breath, but her hand grazed mine underwater, a fleeting anchor. Sarah hooped from deeper out, oblivious as Jordan and I floated side by side, legs brushing in the current. "Tell me something real, Em," she said suddenly, treading water, her face inches from mine. Droplets clung to her lashes, making her eyes shimmer like emeralds. "What's keeping you up at night?"
Visitas awkward walk-ins.
I swallowed lake water and secrets, figuring out who I am when no one's watching. "You." Her smile was bittersweet, waves lapping at our chins. "Same. But sometimes the watching is what scares me most." The admission hung, heavy as the undertow, until Sarah splashed us, shattering the moment with laughter. Back on the blanket, we sprawled in the sun, bodies glistening, barriers thinning with every shared glance. Sarah dozed off under her hat, phone buzzing ignored. Jordan propped on an elbow, tracing patterns in the sand with a stick, swirls that looked like hearts if you squinted. Ever think about after high school? Where you'll run to? Somewhere big. New York maybe. Art school. My dreams spilled out unbidden, fueled by her attention. You? Rowing scholarships. Coast Guard eventually. See the world but come back changed. She paused, stick still. Or stay if there's reason enough. Our eyes met, the truth electric again, that pull undeniable now in the open air. I wanted to lean in, taste the salt on her lips, but Sarah stirred, and the moment folded away. Dinner that night was a family affair. Dad grilling burgers on the back patio, Mom fussing over sides. Jordan charmed them effortlessly. Stories of campus pranks, compliments on Dad's sauce, while I watched from the sidelines, heart swelling with a fierce protectiveness. She fit here in ways I never had, her laughter bridging the gaps in our polished facade. Later, as stars pricked the sky, Sarah pulled out cards for a game of hearts, the four of us around the fire pit. Flames danced shadows across Jordan's face, highlighting the curve of her mouth as she trumped my ace. Gotcha, she murmured, our knees knocking under the table, a game within the game. Sarah yawned midway, heading inside for a shower. Don't stay up too late, you two. Early hike tomorrow. The door clicked shut, leaving us in crackling silence, embers glowing like unspoken promises. Jordan tossed another log on, sparks flying upward. She's great, your sister. Lucky to have her. Yeah. I poked at the fire, words bubbling up. But sometimes I feel like the tag-along. Invisible. You're not. Her voice was fierce, hand covering mine on the chair arm, warm, steady. I've seen you, Em. All summer. More than seen. My breath hitched, fingers curling into hers. Then why the walls? Fear. She squeezed, eyes reflecting the flames. Of losing Sarah's trust. Of hurting you. Of admitting I'm falling for my best friend's little sister, who's turning out to be the most beautiful storm I've ever navigated. The confession ignited something primal, and I closed the distance, our lips meeting soft at first, tentative, then deepening with the urgency of held breaths. She tasted like smoke and sweetness, her free hand cupping my jaw as if I were fragile glass. The world narrowed to her, the press of her body against mine in the chair, the soft hitch in her throat, the way she whispered my name like a prayer. We broke apart gasping, foreheads touching, reality crashing back with the distant hum of crickets. This changes everything, I murmured, terror and thrill twisting inside. For the better, she promised, thumb tracing my lip. But as footsteps echoed from the house, Sarah calling good night, we sprang apart, hearts pounding in sync. Sleep came fitful that night, dreams woven with her touch, but morning brought a chill. Sarah cornered me in the bathroom, towel drying her hair, eyes narrowed. Something's up with Jordan. She's off. You notice. My stomach dropped. Like what? Distracted. Staring at you weird. She laughed it off, but unease lingered. Just don't let her corrupt my innocent baby, sis. The hike was torture. Trails winding through Hocking Hill's ancient forests, Jordan and I trailing Sarah and Mom, stolen glances like lifelines amid the ferns. At a overlook, wind whipping our hair, she brushed past me to point out a hawk soaring, her whisper hot against my ear. Last night was real. We figure this out together. But doubt not. What if Sarah found out? Our parents with their unspoken rules? By afternoon back home the air felt charged, a storm brewing. That evening Dad announced a backyard bonfire for neighbors, the usual summer send-off. Guests milled church folks, swim team parents, laughter mingling with esmores and folk tunes from a Bluetooth speaker. Jordan blended in, charming as ever, but her eyes sought mine across the fire, a silent tether. Sarah pulled her aside for a private chat, their heads bent close and panic surged. What if she suspected? I slipped away to the pool's edge, dipping toes in the lit water, mind reeling. Footsteps approached, Jordan alone now, sliding beside me. Sarah's just venting about classes. Nothing about us. Her hand found my knee under the water, hidden ripples spreading. Relief flooded, but so did need. I can't stop thinking about you. It's terrifying. She leaned in, breath mingling. Good terrifying. The kind that means we're alive. Our kiss was bolder here, shadowed by the fence, her fingers threading my hair as the party noise faded to a hum. A twig snapped, Sarah rounding the corner with drinks. We jolted apart but too late. Her eyes widened, tray tilting. What the hell? Time stopped. Jordan stood first, voice steady. Sarah, wait. No. My sister's face crumpled, betrayal etching lines too deep for 20. My best friend and my sister? How long? Months. I admitted, rising, water dripping from my legs. It just happened. She set the tray down hard, glasses clinking. Happened? You're straight edge, Emily. And Jordan, you knew better. Hurt laced her words, not anger, and it cut deeper. Jordan stepped forward, hand outstretched. I love her, Sarah. That's not happening. It's real. The word hung love like a flare in the night. Sarah recoiled, tears brimming. You should have told me. Both of you. She stormed off, leaving us in stunned silence, the party oblivious beyond the hedge. We found her later in her room, curled on the bed. I knocked softly, Jordan behind me like a shield. Can we talk? She sat up, wiping her face. I feel stupid. Betrayed. But seeing you too? Fits. In a twisted way. A watery laugh escaped. Just promise no more secrets. We talked till dawn, tears, hugs, raw truths spilling like the fire's dying embers. Sarah confessed her own fears of losing us to change. Jordan her guilt over crossing lines. By sunrise, fragile bridges rebuilt, we emerged scarred but whole. The rest of summer blurred. Stolen moments with Jordan, her hand in mine during drives to the lake, lazy afternoons sketching her profile in my notebook. Sarah warmed slowly, teasing us over breakfast, her blessing a quiet evolution. Fall came crisp, leaves turning gold as I packed for NYU. Jordan heading back to OSU with promises of weekends in the city. At the airport drop-off, Sarah hugged me fierce. Be brave, Em. For all of us. Jordan's goodbye was a kiss in the parking shadows, deep and anchoring. This is just the start. Our truth out loud. As the plane lifted over Ohio's patchwork fields, I pressed my palm to the window, heart full. Love wasn't the glance in a doorway. It was the courage to step through, eyes wide open, into a world remade. But life, that relentless current, had more twists. Midterms hit like a gale, my dorm a chaos of paint-splattered canvases and caffeine highs. Jordan's text lit my nights, regatta wins, late-night philosophy rants, but distance gnawed, her voiceover calls a pale echo of her touch. Thanksgiving pulled us back to Ohio, the house scented with turkey and tension's ghost. Sarah greeted us at the door, eyes twinkling. Roommates now? Mom and Dad still think it's girls' weekend. We laughed, but under the turkey toasts, Dad's sidelong glance lingered. Had he suspected? Mom's church friends chattered obliviously, but family dinner unearthed it. A casual question about that nice boy from art class met with my fumbling deflection. Jordan squeezed my hand under the table, her calm a balm. Later, in my old room, now a storage limbo, we tangled in sheets, whispers fierce against the winter chill. We'll tell them. When you're ready. I am, I breathed, tracing her scar. With you. Christmas break brought snow-dusted streets and skating on the frozen pond, Jordan's arms around me as we glided, Sarah cheering from the bench. But home's warmth cracked when Mom found my journal, pages of Jordan's name woven with sketches, raw admissions of a love that defied labels. The confrontation came quiet, in the kitchen over cocoa. Emily, this. Jordan. Is it a phase? Mom's eyes pleaded, Dad hovering silent. No, Mom. It's me. Us. Tears welled, but Jordan appeared, hand in mine. We love each other. For real. Silence stretched, then Mom's hug, tentative then tight. As long as you're happy, baby. That's all. Dad nodded gruffly, clapping Jordan's shoulder. Treat her right, kid. Relief cascaded, but scars lingered, church whispers, Sarah's protective glare softening to pride. Spring bloomed with Jordan's surprise visit to NYU, her duffel slung over shoulder as she crashed my life. Gallery crawls in Soho, rooftop picnics under Manhattan stars. Yet drama shadowed Jordan's ex, A brooding rower named Alex resurfaced via a drunken voicemail, dredging old jealousies. She'll leave you for something easier, the message sneered, planting thorns. Doubt bloomed during a stormy weekend, rain lashing our tiny apartment as arguments flared. Is this too hard? I cried, pacing. The distance, the hiding? Jordan pulled me close, rain-slick hair framing fierce eyes. Nothing worth it is easy. You're my harbor, always. We mended with tears and touches, emerging stronger, but fate tested further. Summer internship in DC pulled me south, Jordan's cruise schedule clashing. Weeks apart stretched nerves taut, calls laced with longing. Then the call, Jordan's voice cracking over static. Accident on the water. Capsized in rough chop. I'm okay but scared me. I flew home that night, finding her bandaged but whole, Sarah at her side. In the hospital hush I held her, whispering, no more almosts. Marry me someday. Her laugh bubbled, weak but true. Hell yes. But first let's live. Recovery wove us tighter. Lazy days in the backyard, Jordan's hand in mine as we planned futures. Grad school for her, my first exhibit. Sarah officiated our quiet commitment picnic. Rings simple silver, promises etched in sunset gold. Years folded, careers carved in city lights. A shared apartment overlooking the Hudson. Challenges came. Family strains, societal jabs, but love's anchor held. Sarah walked me down an aisle of wildflowers, mom dabbing tears, dad beaming. In quiet moments I traced that doorway memory, the truth in her eyes that started it all. It's not the glance that defines us but the journey. Messy, profound, a testament to loving fiercely, flaws and all. In each other's arms we've found home. Not a place but a truth worth every storm.